I destroyed Man in the Moon with a solo Psychic but also debug in the Boneyard, and I almost had Chaos, the Rift's boss. Today in this video I will explain you how Psychic works, what you should build with it, which stat to go for, and how strong it can get. Before we go anywhere in this video, I'd like to discuss briefly the basic attack of the Psychic. The Psychic's basic attack pulls an enemy towards it by one tile initially. For each point of knockback stat that you have, it pulls the enemy one additional tile. At first, when seeing this, I thought, okay, this is a class made around lava tiles, scramble, and other tile-focused gameplay where you place a lot of traps on the map. Don't get me wrong, this gameplay works, but the real strength behind this basic attack is the range of it. Being able to hit anything on the map is really good. Look at this first turn in the core. My Psychic plays first and has Soy Milk, which allow me to do 3 basic attack for 1 damage each. I don't really care about the damage of the basic attack. I want to place for a zone attack, or bump the enemies with each other, or even apply some debuff through my basic attack. Or all of these scenarios together ideally. So when you're about to go on a run with a Psychic, there's a lot of things that you should consider. Let's start with the basics. First, we're going to talk about what makes a good Psychic. As you know, this game is a roguelike, so you can't really predict what you will end up with, but still, some cats are tailored for this class. Let's start with the statistic. You don't care about strength and dexterity, and I could also add luck, but as you know, it also affects the randomness of events, so it's always good to have a bit of luck. Let's just say that it doesn't affect the Psychic's gameplay. Constitution is obviously a good choice, aim for 5-6 minimum, and movement is, in my opinion, the most important stat if you're about to play with 4 cats. Being first to play is amazing as a Psychic because all the enemies they're packed together, and depending on your build, you will be able to do many harmful things to them. There is no speed requirements to get, just make sure your Psychic cat is the fastest of your group. Intelligence and Charisma. So intelligence, you want a lot of it, as much as possible, sky is the limit. Charisma, on the other hand, you want to control its number. My sweet spot is 4, 5, 6 in Charisma, with 4, 5 being the best. I just don't have many cats with such low Charisma, as I try to optimize my breeding. Having a low Charisma allows you to go for the max mana build if you have the opportunity. Although if you don't get lucky with RNG, then having a normal amount of Charisma, 5 to 6, will be enough for other builds. Keep in mind that the Psychic start with 5 extra starting mana anyway, so you will have enough for your first turn. The max mana build goes with passives like Full Power or Overflow, and these perks unlock the real potential of the Psychic class if you're max mana. It's also connected to spells like Gravity Blast or Increased Gravity, but yeah, we will get back to the builds later on. And finally, the cherry on the cake for your Psychic is a little debuff on its basic attack. Since it has infinite range, it's perfect to apply debuffs on enemies. Think of Soul Link, Confusion, Burn, Freeze, Leech, whatever. Now you have it, the perfect cat for a solid Psychic run. And to be honest, in that configuration, your Psychic is already at least a very annoying cat for your enemies. But you can make it completely absurd with items. Soy Milk, 3 basic attacks is way too good, especially if you have a debuff like Soul Link. That means that first turn you can link the life of 3 enemies and still damage them somewhere close to midlife. If you have some knockback, then your basic attack will do good damages 3 times, and yeah, it's just good. Soy Milk is just a great enabler. For the face, I like to go with something like Mage's Robe, for example, allowing you to get more intelligence with your basic attack. For the hat, you can go with Jewel of Drug. It's great if you're aiming for a max mana build, but even if you are unlucky with the passives and spells, you will still be happy with the hat bonuses. For the neck, you can think of something like Mark IV to add more intelligence. It's especially strong if you go for the spam ping build, which is, well, a build where you spam ping and wait for it to do more and more damages. It looks like this. And as a weapon, you have many possibilities, but I like to roleplay Alakazam and go for the spoon. It allows me to have an extra basic attack, and you unlock this spoon by finishing the Jurassic Zone in Act 3 with a Psychic in your team. Now you're ready to shred, let's see what kind of Psychic you can be. Just keep in mind that all Psychic builds goes well together and you can mix archetypes with each other. First of them all, the Max Mana Boy. Super simple gameplay, get max mana each turn, destroy everything. Some Psychic spells get really good if you're using them while having max mana. We saw just before, for example, Gravity Blast or Increased Gravity. Those are the kind of spell you want to go for with this archetype. Although it's okay if you don't get any spells like this. The passives are what makes this max mana build so good. Here is a little calculation I made. There is 25 psychic passive in Mewgenics, and 6 of them are related to the max mana build. Each run, you get a random passive at start, a choice of passives at level 3, and another one at level 7. Let's say that in average, you always have 3 psychic passive in the pool of 4. Well, and then in this scenario, the probability that you get at least one max mana passive is 86.5%. Obviously, hitting level 7 isn't always easy in Mewgenics, so in a run where you only get to choose a passive at level 3, your probability would still be of 68%, which is still very good, and I'm not even talking about having reroll options on your cat. Now, in terms of gameplay, I won't elaborate too long on it because the building part of this archetype is way more important than the gameplay itself. Here is a great example. In that run, I got full power and overflow, but I had to wait turn 3 to be full mana, so my gameplay in the first turns looked like this. And that, my friends, it's kinda sad. Because if I had less charisma, my setup would be done by turn 2. And even with the help of that free spell from full power called Grow Head, I couldn't reach the threshold on time and be ready on the second turn. To be fair, I also got extremely unlucky to get like the worst mutation possible during my run. Like, come on man, what is this? What are the odds? Anyway, just check how good it is when everything is aligned. So turn 3, this is what I can do. This was such a solid build. I could teleport where I wanted, I could deal 6 damages for 3 mana in a zone and apply immobile debuff on enemies with increased gravity. In my opinion, the max mana build is the main archetype you should have in mind while you're running with a Psychic. It's okay if you don't get any enablers, there is other Psychic builds, but this one will always do well and can be mixed with other archetypes. The second build I want to talk about is the Gravity one. This one relies on spells, movement, and Gravity Affliction. This archetype is more obvious, and it's probably something you've been running already. While running Act 2 in solo, I got a combo that I really like, which is Supernova plus Reality Shatter, and this is what it looks like. Complete chaos. Reality Shatter make gravity spells and attacks spawn floating glass. To check if a spell is a gravity spell, you need to look for that little icon there. Side note, your basic attack is considered a gravity move, so if you're running, let's say, Wither or Soy Milk or Twiddle or all of those together, it will allow you to spam your basic attack and you will be able to apply a lot of debuffs to enemies. And if you're running Flourish, then you will be able to apply a lot of buff to allies. Combine with Supernova and you'll be giving buff to all allies while blinding and damaging every enemy. This is really strong. So when you're focusing on the gravity build, you want to have a bit of everything. Some debuff on your basic attack, more basic attacks, knockback damages, good zone spells, supports move, etc. Everything can work out there, so it's on you to choose the best combination according to your team setup. This makes the gravity archetype pretty easy to build as you just go with the flow of the run. The third build is a bit of a stretch as it requires you to have a specific setup and at least one of these two. Ping or Mind Tempest, but ideally both. The idea behind this archetype is to spam as many small spells as possible to trigger Mind Tempest and get all stats up plus magic damages. Power Up can replace Mind Tempest, but requires you to have low charisma to be triggered as much as possible. So again, going with low charisma cat when playing Psychics. It's very important. Spamming Ping is your main source of damage, but your basic attack will also scale up with magic damage bonus. So to trigger Ping as much as possible, you will need another low-cost spell to spam with. I recommend Echo and Snatch for best results, but you can't go wrong with, let's say, Look Away or Chaos Swap that just cost 1 more mana. I had this one Psychic with Ping, Snatch and Mind Tempest, and look at that, it's completely insane. This might be the strongest build of Psychic, but also the hardest to go for. There is like 50 spells for the Psychic, so it's quite unusual to get Ping early enough to dedicate a build to it. But now, if you get the occasion, at least you know what to do. And finally, not really a build because I wouldn't run a full support Psychic, but just a disclaimer on the pool of spells and passives available. There is a lot of very strong supports move, things like Mind Control, Ancestral Recall, Mind Meld, etc. They're all great spells to go with any kind of build. In the end, it's a choice to make regarding your whole team setup more than just your Psychic cat. And also, every move and passive related to basic attack are usually good, and most of the time they will improve your current build. Glow, for example, is amazing, especially combined with Twiddle. You can blind the whole team turn 1 by spamming your basic attack. Beacon can be great if you're going for a full knockback build. It's just complicated to go wrong with how good Psychic's possibilities are. The only important thing is to understand from an early build where you can go with your Psychic. Basically, you need vision to play Psychic, and I think that's kind of funny. Now, if I had to choose 3 bad passives and 3 bad spells, this would be my list. For the passives, I think that Psionic Repel can be complicated because theoretically you don't want your Psychic Cat to be close to the enemies. It would require you to play a sort of tank Psychic, which can work, it's just not recommended. Repressed Memories is too random for me. Most of the time I don't even know which spells got cast by the passive. And same for Blink. I like the idea on paper, but man, I don't want to end up randomly in lava or stuff like that. And for the spells, I think that Shatter the Sky is way too expensive. For 5, you could go for Slipstream, that does so much more in my opinion. Reality Scramble, very random again. Can be fun, I guess, but with how punishing the game is, I won't take any extra RNG risk. And Pass. Pass. Pass, I think this is too situational because it requires you to have a really bad Psychic to the point that you prefer to play another cat's turn. It's not really something you want to build around. Overall, that's it for the Psychic. I'm aware that there is more builds to it, like the full knockback archetype, but with everything we've covered today, you should be able to have a lot of fun with the Psychic. If I had to give it a rank, I would put the Psychic in A tier, but all the way up to the #1 spot in the A tier ranks. Psychic has everything you want in a tactical RPG in my opinion, because more than efficiency, I think that it brings a lot of fun, because it forces you to think differently. Cactus in the desert suddenly becomes your best friend. It opens a new gameplay style, and for that reason, it became my favorite class. I had so much fun running solo Act 2 and Act 1 with a Psychic, and honestly, I didn't expect the class to be that good. And after seeing how deceiving is the mage, it was a relief to have at least one powerful magic class. Psychic does what the mage can only dream of. That's my feeling about it as of today. Maybe the mage will get a buff, maybe not, but for now, Psychic is way better. I hope you guys learned something about the Psychic class, and I wish you a great day, and I'll see you around. Bye bye.